Hello and welcome to Van Vlog number 31. Hello everyone, I'm just sitting in the park. It's lunchtime. I got some leftovers. I made some rice and lentils with mushroom soup, and I thought that was 2 pork chops, so I defrosted both of what I thought was pork chops, but apparently there were 4 pieces of chicken in one of the packs of meat and only 1 pork chop. So I ate the pork chop last night. Have I said pork chop enough times? Anyway, what's going on, people? I've got a job this week, so I'm happy. The job I have is a temp job, and I'm being paid $15 an hour to peel labels off of file folders. Think about that for a minute. That's all I do all day. Peel the numbers off of the file folders, and I hand them to the guy behind me, and then he puts new numbers on them. It's kind of like a government make work project, if you ask me. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have a job. And actually, they extended me for 3 weeks, so I have a job for a month. So, yay! Nick's happy. Well, I'm sort of happy. I'm really, I don't know. Honestly, I'm down. You know, I may seem somewhat articulate, but there's a lot of stress. I'm barely going to pay rent on the 1st, and that's a little worrying. I have no money on my credit card. I have no savings. I really don't have anything to sell to make money off of. So it puts you in a really difficult situation. I was actually looking at the rental assistance program that's in this province, and I was actually contemplating it, but they base it on your last year's income, and apparently I'm a frickin' millionaire to them. So that's not gonna work. I had to move my cat out of our house because she was, well, the last straw was, we found her in the cupcakes. Kid shouldn't be in cupcakes. The cupcakes weren't the only issue. Mika just wasn't really fitting in with our household. And I've had her for a few years, so I felt really bad, and I still feel really bad. Luckily my mom took her in. My mom is retired, and she has time to spend with Mika and play with her and give her all the love and attention she needs, because she needs someone all the time. She needs to sit on your lap, she needs to play with you. I'm sorry for eating, but it's hard to do van vlogs nowadays with a child. Sometimes he's happy, sometimes he's very angry, and Sarah and I are constantly trying to decipher his messages. So we're getting better at it. There's actually a woman who was on Oprah, and she had all the secret language of babies, and she's right. Especially for hunger, he makes it sound like eh, eh, eh. And man, that kid, he's got some muscles on him. When he's hungry or angry, he just pounds on your chest and you're holding him. It's really hard sometimes. It's really mentally difficult having a kid. I knew they would be yelling and crying and stuff, but I didn't realize to what extent there would be. But that's okay. It's getting better. You know, have some different bottles for him now. And he seems to be getting happier. We were using bottles with shaped nipples, and I think it was hurting his mouth and he was crying every time we fed him, so we went with a little bit smoother nipples. Nipples! Yeah, basically, I'm just trying to stay alive lately. I tried a little bit of a social experiment. I opened a channel, and you'll find out about eventually. And I only told one person about it, and I directed that person towards that channel, and I'm just seeing what happens. Like, I'm seeing if it develops subscribers or not. And if it does and becomes popular, then it'll I don't care, I'll do the whole AdSense revenue thing, and it's not for my benefit anyway, so it's for someone else's benefit, someone else's future. So I will I'll tell you all about that new channel a little bit later. I'll see how the experiment goes. I'm sure a lot of you will enjoy subscribing to it. I have these neighbors. They're retired, they're in their 70s. My mother-in-law parked outside our house a few weeks ago. Sarah was going into labor and stuff, and she was worried, and it was really quite crazy, so my mother-in-law came over and she parked in front of her house. And it's not a residential only zone, it's like no zone, it's free for all, it's public parking, public street. Nobody's got any right to tell anybody where to go. But these elderly neighbors seem to think that they own all the parking outside of their house because they don't have a driveway. So that means that it's everyone's fault that they don't have a driveway. They didn't feel like blasting the rock when they built the damn place, so hey man, not my problem. So she parks her car outside of our house and runs inside, and she was trying to get Sarah out and all that stuff, and this fucking neighbor, he parks his van an inch off her bumper. And to me that's intimidation. And why you would want to intimidate a random woman on the street with your van, I don't know. I think the guy's a fucking asshole. So I went over there and had a conversation with them, and I asked him exactly what happened, and he sort of glossed over it because his wife was there, of course, and I heard the story from his wife before, and she gave me a very glossed over version, so I wanted him to tell me exactly what the hell happened. And I basically told him that it's unacceptable to intimidate my visitors and my family. I've lived next to crackheads. I've lived in the same house as fucking crackheads who were burning pentagrams into the wood floor next door. After living with all of those things, you know, I lived in an apartment building once, and there was like constant police raids on the other apartments. I don't need to live next to a couple of senior citizens that can't live with the rest of the world peacefully. So I said, have some respect, you know, treat people with courtesy, because I don't want to have a problem with you. Because Sarah's mom was really not impressed with his little van intimidation tactics. And I already had to tell them that I was taking down the sign on our property line between us. There's a big trail closed sign, there was a big red stop sign, and I had to look at the fucking thing every day since I moved in there. And I flipped the sign over and screwed it back in so they would have to look at it, because they put it up without permission a couple years ago, I guess, is what my landlord tells me. And Nick's not doing that. And I told them that. So I put a potted tree in the space because she was afraid, well, the mailman scares her because he makes a shortcut through the yard and walks past the kitchen window and scares her. Oh my god, it's a mailman! Yeah. So I tied that one up. Anyway, I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'd just like to have some sort of vision of the future. Like a full-time permanent job would be nice. We'll see what happens. I'm actually working where I am. I ran into a couple of people in the elevator and they want to hire me for the new year for a project, so that's awesome. Well, it's about the end of my lunch. And thank you for watching and hearing my woes. Perhaps you laughed. I don't know. And if I have any funny pictures of stuff. Oh! A couple of days ago I went to A&W and I got a couple of hamburgers. And I was sitting outside of my workplace on a bench. And there's a black cat who lives in the neighborhood, and it's pretty friendly. I pet him a couple times. Well, this black cat comes out of nowhere, out of a bush next to the bench, starts meowing and jumps up on the bench, and he's on my lap, and he wants to he wants my hamburger. Well, all of a sudden there's 6 crows that fly over and perch in the tree above me, and they're all screaming, squawking. They want to kill the cat. So I'm sitting there trying to protect my hamburgers from this cat. I'm worried I'm going to get crapped on. And then I see a woman walking 8 dogs coming towards me, and I've got a cat and crows. It's like Wild Kingdom. This woman sees me battling all the animals, and thankfully she crossed the street with all their dogs. And I wish I got that on video, but it's just one of those things that you miss. One of those golden moments that you miss with your video camera. Don't you hate that? I really hate that. There's some times where you're just like, god damn, you know, why didn't I have the camera running? Yeah. Well, folks, that's it for me. That was a good one. I wish my kid would do that more. And thanks for sticking around, and I'll do an official release of the new channel at a later date. So, cheers. Broccoli. Why is there broccoli on the beach?
Yes, they touch human ones. Yeah, so basically what they did is they approached several new mothers who had just given birth, and they were still in the hospital recovering from their deliveries when they were asked to be part of the study. They ended up with 19 mothers who were keen to be parked and brought in for a couple of months. And the study started off with a bit of a brain scan, so they used an MRI machine, and they took a picture of the brains of these new moms in the first sort of 2 to 4 weeks of